Hey you, how's it going? My name is Ruby Bryce, and today it's been a year since my 30 before 30 bucket list, and I thought I would give you a 1 year on update since, there's now been a year. And yeah. So for those of you who weren't here a year ago, I have a bucket list of 30 things that I would like to do before I reach the age of 30. The rules are that they can be of any sort of size, but as long as I've never done them before, then, they're fair game. I'm allowed to include them on my bucket list. The video in which I announced what these were, I talked about them in detail, and if you want, you can go and check that out. There'll be a link in the description and a card somewhere, one of the corners. Yeah. But this video's purpose is more just to give you an update on where I'm at with the things, whilst also going through them as well, but not in as much detail as to why I want to do them, and more what I'm doing to achieve them. You follow? Good. But in the meantime, before I do get started, go in the comments and let me know what makes your bucket list. What are the things you want to do the most in your life? Like, if you're under age 30, what would make your 30 before 30? If you're under 40, what would make your 40 before 40? You know what I'm saying here. Just, give me something to work with. So, on with the list. Obviously, some of these you'll know about because I've made videos talking about the fact that I've done them. So, number 1, attend a multi-day festival. I did that. I went to Rockworks last year. It was a really good time, and I really enjoyed it. Number 2, go to a Pride event. Again, did that last year. Last summer was a really good year for this bucket list. But yeah, I went, had a really good time with Chloe. It was very gay, and I had a gay old time. Flintstones joke. It's one for the caveman era. Says that. Number 3, adopt a cat. As much as I keep asking my mum, no, I'm not going to be allowed to adopt a cat whilst I still live with her. So that's sort of one of those kind of things where I've got to move out first, or continue to try and wear her down. But yes, not achievable at the minute. Number 4, finish and publish my book. Yes, I've been writing a book since 2017, I think it was. I did start before I had my surgery, left it quite a while, and then managed to get up to about 15k words. And recently I've managed to try and get myself into the pattern of writing just something as often as possible, and it's nowhere near finished. I've got loads of ideas going on in my head about what I want to write, and just not the motivation to write it all out. So I know what I'm doing. Number 5, present on a radio station that has actually paid me to be there. To be honest, if I was going to retcon this, I would just say, work for a radio station that's paid me to be there, rather than just, present. Because since writing this, I've also, accepted that production is something that I'm actually pretty good at and really enjoy as well. And I would, happily take a job in production rather than presenting. As much as I like presenting, I don't think that, at this stage of my life, anyone's going to pay me to be presenting. But you never know. I am applying to loads of radio jobs, and none of them are responding. Number 6, go on a holiday. As in, I included this in when I went to Rockworks because I went to fucking Belgium. Yeah. If that's not a holiday, what is? And it was a good time. Yeah. What more can I say? 7, assemble a photo album. I haven't actually printed off any photos since the first 30 before 30 bucket list video that I made. But I'm taking loads of photos, and there are loads of photos that I think I look good in and stuff. And I'm not in that era of nostalgia for my life at this point. Maybe in 5 or 6 years, when I'm a lot closer to 30 and have a lot more to look back on of happier times and stuff. Like, it's only the last couple of years that I've really kind of been, going, oh, my life is actually sort of alright. Let's, document this with photos and videos. Yeah, at this point, I just don't have that. So, there's no photo album. Number 8, learn to cook properly. I'm gonna be trying to work on this year at some point. It's one of my goals for this year to, do some sort of fucking cooking. Not together. Because that would be... well, maybe, but... No. Yes, I want to learn to cook. And I want to, actually do some sort of course around it. It's just finding the time and the money to actually kind of be like, okay, I'll sign up to a cooking class. Because at the minute, I'm really fucking busy. Number 9, attend a fancy restaurant. This one's sort of limited to budget and social circumstances. As in, I don't want to just go to a fancy restaurant on my own. I want to go with, like, friends to celebrate or something like that. But, you know, I mean, all the friends that I want to go to a restaurant with, you know, I've got to kind of be on board with this idea. I've got to have enough money to be on board with this idea. And right now, I'm just trying to, you know, get out of the very bottom of my overdraft. And number 10, attend a Coventry game. Yep, still not been. And from the looks of things, I might not be going in quite a while, because we're currently, for those of you who aren't aware, I support Coventry City because I'm from near there, and it's just sort of, you know, family. But yeah, Coventry are on the verge of being expelled from the Football League, so yay. 11, see a musical on the West End. Again, this is something that I would have to just sort of be in the right circumstances for, like, you know, be able to go down to London and go see a musical. I'd really like to go and see School of Rock and Les Mis. Les Mis is going on tour, for fuck's sake, but that's not the West End, so yeah. Number 12, work at a different job. Yes, I'm still at Dye Works, and it's really helpful, the fact that it's next door and it earns me enough money just to sort of, you know, be like, okay, I can look for a job I actually want to do, rather than have to apply to, you know, like, work in a supermarket or doing some shitty admin job 9 to 5. I am not a person that works well with the 9 to 5 structure, and I don't want to do that, but I do want to get another job at some point, and that's the point of this one. 13, finish hair removal. When I finished uni, I started looking at hair removal options again, because I never finished hair removal on my face, because the NHS only offers a certain amount of sessions, and I wanted to, you know, not have to shave every couple of fucking days. I feel like, you know, that's not much to ask for, but the problem is it's expensive, and it's a massive investment. I mean, I know the rest of my life is a massive investment too, but fucking hell, I ain't got the money for that at the minute. The clinic I went to in Leeds cost me a train ticket to Leeds and back, and then it would have cost me more on top for each weekly session of, you know, 15 minutes of electrolysis on my face. Hey, as I referred to earlier, number 14, get out of my overdraft. I'm still about $1,000 into it, because reasons. I will do it. You know, I've just got to have a period of time where I can save rather than spend, you know. Number 15, live in Manchester or Leeds for at least a month. I said at least a month because, you know, then I could say I've done it. And I haven't done that yet. And it's just somewhere different. I like different. Getting out of my comfort zone brings out the best in me, and that's kind of what I need right now. You know? I just haven't done it yet. 16, attend a Summer in the City weekend. I'd really like to go to Summer in the City this year. I'm not sure how feasible it is, because it requires, you know, going down to London, spending a couple of days in London and coming back, and also then having money to do the London shit and the Summer in the City shit as well. And I'd really like to go this year, and who knows? It'd be really helpful if they fucking invite me, but, you know, I can't have everything. That's me telling you to tweet Summer in the City saying that they should get me down. Number 17, acquire a boy or girlfriend. I mean, I'm still as single as I was last time. That's not to say I'm not looking though, although I did delete Tinder off my phone and the more recent dating app that I tried, just because they're not productive in terms of people in my demographic getting into a relationship. People on Tinder are after two things: sex and nudes. And yeah. Number 18, learn to drive. I've got fucking driving lessons going on every week, and I'm doing pretty alright at it, according to my instructor. So, I'm learning. I could probably, you know, I could go down a straight road with some turns pretty reliably. I just haven't done anything else yet. I should also probably sort out my theory. 19, join a gym. I haven't joined a gym because A, money, and B, I just don't have the time. But I could look at other sort of like fitness things to get me sort of ready to join a gym. Number 20, start doing yoga. Again, with the gym stuff. I just don't have the time or money to invest in it, and that's what's holding me back in this area. It's what's holding me back in a lot of these areas, actually. 21, attend a gig in a foreign country. Again, this is something that I ticked off with the Rock Workter experience, and I fucking loved it. Although, I did notice that the crowds are quite different, in the sense that I'm not sure if it's a language barrier or something along those lines, but the crowds at Rock Workter were just sort of fucking boring. The gigs were fun, but the crowds were sort of dull. Number 22, read the Game of Thrones book series now. Since I made the first video of this series, I bought the box set of all of the Game of Thrones books that currently exist, from A Game of Thrones to A Dance with Dragons Part 2 After the Feast. I've read 6 of them, and I'm on A Dance with Dragons Part 2. And yeah, that'll be something really interesting to talk about when I actually finish that. And I'm currently having this sort of debate with myself. Do I consider reading the Game of Thrones book series to everything that currently exists as completing it? Or do I wait for... There are 2 more books to come. Do I wait for a delayed book that might not even come out before I reach 30? Or, yeah, I don't know. Leave answers, comments, yeah. If I do go with the whole, I've read all the books that exist scenario, then there should be a video coming soon. Yeah. Number 23, buy an iMac. Again, money. It's still something I very much want to do, because I gave the reasoning in my original 30 for 30 video. I'd like to have the sort of set space where I can do work, because it's sort of psychological thing, like it gets you more motivated to do work if you have a place designated to do work, as opposed to, sitting on your bed doing work, which basically means just, binge watching YouTube and Netflix and fucking about on Facebook. The last one of these that I've done, number 24, graduate university with at least a 2-1. I fucking graduated with a first! How the fuck did I do that? I'm not quite sure. Number 25, attempt a Harry Potter marathon. Since watching the second Fantastic Beasts movie, I've decided, fuck Fantastic Beasts, that is not going into the marathon. When I do this marathon, it will be from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone to Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2, and I'm looking at ways to do it that will be very sort of interesting, as in I could live stream what happens whilst I'm watching it. Obviously I can't live stream the Harry Potter stuff because that's copyright, but I can live stream how the fuck I'm getting on with it, So that'd be something to be quite interesting and consider. 26, have an article I write published on a third-party site. I have sort of more recently fallen back in love with writing, and I've applied to write for many, many blogs and stuff like that. I just kind of think I've taken on a bit too much at once, in the sense that I got accepted to most of them. I just don't have the time to write for them. Number 27, watch all the movies that I currently own on DVD Blu-ray. I figure this is something best to wait for, the later stages of 30 before 30, because, if I watch everything, I'll get more by the time I reach 30. Which is, kind of the conundrum that I'm having with Game of Thrones. But I do own a lot of fucking DVDs and Blu-rays, and, there are quite a lot I haven't watched. Number 28, get a cat-related tattoo. I still haven't had a tattoo since the last one I got in 2017, I think it was. Maybe 2016. 2017, maybe. But yeah, I would very much like to get a tattoo related to cats. Specifically, my cats that I've had. I just haven't yet. Number 29, start a podcast. I am so close to actually launching my own podcast at this point. I've recorded content for it. I have jingles. I have fucking everything. I don't want to launch it without having something to follow it up with. And at the minute, that's just the kind of conundrum. I have so many interviewees in mind and people who've agreed to do stuff. It's just finding the fucking time, you know? But it will be coming, hopefully soon, like this half of the year, because, yeah. And it will be coming to actual, you know, like podcast listening platforms like, you know, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. That's how serious I am about starting a podcast. I'm fucking investing money into it. And finally, number 30, put together a gig scrapbook. Obviously that hasn't happened either. I haven't started that because that's going to require money and time. But I have obviously been to so many more gigs since I made the original list. And yeah, still got all the stuff for them too. But yeah, so that is the update on how my 30 before 30 is going. Yeah, so like I said at the start of this video, if you have anything in your bucket list that you are working to, or even, you know, something that you've actually completed that was on your bucket list since I made the first video, leave it in the comments below and let me know. It'd be really cool to find out. We can go on this bucket list journey together. I do highly recommend having a 30 before 30 if you're under the age of 30. It gives you sort of short-term achievements for a long-term goal, in the sense that, you know, by the age of 30, you can look at this list and be like, these are 30 things that I've done. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media with someone who you think might enjoy it, particularly if that person is into bucket lists. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because that would be awesome. And yeah, I've been Ruby Bryce, and I shall see you next time. Adios. Bye. I feel like, you know, filming and completing one of these videos in as short amount of time as possible should be on my bucket list, because that took forever.